The night she vanished, it was late May in 1998, and the small city of Ashford Creek, Oregon, population barely 12,000 at the time, was the kind of place people assumed crime skipped. When high school senior Amber Cordell failed to come home that Sunday night, the town woke up to a silence colder than the early summer rain drumming on rooftops. Amber was 17, blonde hair, pulled back in a careless ponytail, the kind of girl with a laugh you recognized before she spoke. On that Sunday, May 24th, she'd finished her shift at the local supermarket, dropped into a friend's house for a movie, and by 11 p.m., she'd said she needed to walk home. The route was clear-cut. 2 blocks south, past the football field lights, across the little bridge that spans Willow Creek, and then the gravel road to her parents' house on the wooded edge of town. By midnight, she was still not home. Her mother, Denise, called her mobile one of the newer models then and heard nothing. Her father, Mark, left his side door open, flashlight in hand, scanning the gravel by the creek. "Amber?" he shouted. "Amber, where are you?" Only the rustle of trees answered. The next morning, when the sun crawled its weak way through cloud cover, the town's sheriff, Timothy Hayes, arrived at 7:08 a.m. in his cruiser. He recorded it. Missing juvenile female, last seen Sunday, 23:45 hours. He paced the bridge where Amber should have crossed, rubber-gloved and with tape in hand. He looked into the creek's shallow water, the 1998 memory of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and local police still fresh in many minds. They had just in March taken a high-profile missing persons case from a cruise ship, the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley, and the aura of unsolved still hung in the air. When Amber's backpack was found later that day, spent on the gravel near the creek bridge, zipper open, one shoe missing, everyone in Ashford Creek felt the shift. The town's innocence cracked. The whispers began. Did she slip into the water? Was she taken? Denise held up the backpack at a news conference, the paper flashing "Missing Amber Cordell" across the screen. In one photo, the backpack lay next to a half-drunk soda bottle, the label peeling away in static summer light. Amber's disappearance triggered the kind of media coverage you expect in bigger cities. Reporters driving up from Portland, cameras lining the main street. The local diner became a staging ground. Sheriff Hayes, who in previous years only handled drunken disputes and the occasional car break-in, now found himself poring over missing person posters, scribbling notes on his coffee table late into the night. Tire tracks by the creek were photographed. Volunteers combed the woods. A private tech company engineer from Salem offered to fly a small plane with a camera, but none of it turned up Amber. By the third night, the town lit candles outside the Cordells' front yard, each one marking a question. Where is Amber? On Tuesday evening, June 2nd, the night the National News Channel ran a piece comparing her case to the 1998 disappearance of a 19-year-old in Wisconsin, the mood in Ashford Creek changed again. The case became a symbol of the unknown. So when 2 months later the forensic lab reported that the footprint found near Elizabeth Lane might belong to Amber's size 8 sneaker, the hope was cautious but real. Denise stared at the print in a photograph, the tread pattern, faint but distinct, and beside it one tiny drop of what could be blood. The print was near where the creek bank sloped into darkness. Sheriff Hayes called it the only tangible clue we have. He made that statement on July 1st, 1998. In the meantime, the national context pressed in. 1998 was the year the internet started shifting into public consciousness. Google's IPO was just months away. Microsoft was under antitrust fire, and families like the Cordells saw extraordinary coverage and technologies. Even in remote Ashford Creek, someone had set up a web page, Find Amber Cordell. They posted her photo in JPEG, asked for tips via an email address they set up. The novelty of receiving an email tip from someone in another state felt unreal. On August 14, 1998, the Cordells held a vigil. Amber's friends spoke of her energy, how she volunteered at the animal shelter, how she planned to attend community college in Portland the next year. They pointed out the night of May had been unusually cool, -53 degrees Fahrenheit at midnight, and the water in Willow Creek had been higher from recent rains. Could she have slipped? Some said yes. Others refused to believe the town's creek could claim her. Then came the twist. In late September, a witness from a neighboring county phoned in. He said he saw a light. The town's heartbeat shifted again. Parents stopped letting kids walk alone at night. Amber's younger sister, Jenna, started sleeping with the light on. Neighbors whispered behind curtains. The diner's jukebox faded out. The neon lights seemed harsher in the dark. Sheriff Hayes brought in puppy-footed questions. Did someone know the creek path well? Was the driver someone local or passing through? Tire grease traces were too faint. The footprint had no match. By October, national true crime fans had begun sniffing around. Ashford Creek was small, but Amber's case entered online forums, message boards with dial-up internet connections in 1998. These were slow but desperate. Someone posted a reconstructed image of what Amber might look like today if found alive. Someone else speculated she might have been trafficked to a big city. The Cordells, overwhelmed, put up a billboard on Highway 26. Amber Cordell still missing. But then winter closed in. The creek froze. Search dogs lost scent trails. The prints melted. The town yearned for closure, the sort of kind seen on high-profile cases, but there was none. Sheriff Hayes, in February 1999, told the press, "We're investigating every angle, but we need public help." He looked older, the gray in his hair more obvious. Months of no progress way. Back in May 1998, when Amber vanished, another major case flared. The disappearance of a Virginia woman, Amy Lynn Bradley, on March 24th, while on a cruise. That case drew national attention. Many would later draw comparisons, the idea of innocence lost, the puzzling clues, the void left behind. The Cordells didn't mention Amy's case, they had their own, but everyone in law enforcement watched it. If a young woman could vanish from a ship in open waters, how much more could happen in a quiet suburb? Into this cold horizon stepped another layer, financial stress. Mark Cordell lost overtime work because of the pervasive media. Denise became so exhausted that she barely said her own name into the phone one morning when the reporter called. Jenna, 14 then, slipped into a shell, drawing dark pictures of the creek at night. The community rallied pot-luck dinners, church services, volunteers, but the emptiness hovered. Sheriff Hayes held a press conference on March 24, 1999, exactly 1 year after Amber disappeared. He wore his badge and delivered the statement all such investigations dread. No remains. No arrests. The case is still open. If you have any information, contact the Ashford County Sheriff's Office. His voice cracked slightly. Behind him, Denise held a snapshot of Amber smiling, in a new dress, sunlight on her face. The photo had never faded. That identical afternoon, the internet news carried a story about the FBI reopening the Bradley case. The Cordell family saw the headline. Maybe it meant more awareness of missing persons cases. Maybe it meant something for them. Then it was gone. And so, in the quiet of Ashford Creek, the scoreboard of time ticked. 365 days, 8,760 hours. No Amber. The forest behind the Cordells' house watched silently. The creek continued to flow, indifferent. Amber's absence became part of the town as ambient hum, a reminder that under the surface of ordinary life, something dark can wait. As dawn broke on May 25, 1999, a light rain fell across the bridge where Amber vanished. Sheriff Hayes stood there, coffee in hand, thinking of footprints, tire tracks, and unanswered questions. He tucked his notebook away and stared at the creek's mirror. Somewhere down that slope, just out of sight, the answer waited. He didn't know whether it would come tomorrow or 10 years from now, but he knew that case files, like rivers, hold hidden undercurrents. For Amber's family, that night stretched on. For the town, it was a loss of faith and simplicity. As the night deepened over Ashford Creek, the bridge where Amber vanished stood quiet again, only the whisper of water below. Sheriff Hayes turned to leave, but his flashlight caught something glinting in the mud metal, small, circular. He crouched, brushed away the wet soil, and froze. It was a silver locket, its chain snapped, initials faintly engraved. AC, the clasp was rusted, but inside, beneath the cracked glass, was a photo of Amber smiling, beside a girl no one in town could name. The rain began to fall harder. Hayes looked up toward the dark tree line, his breath visible in the cold air, and felt it that same old instinct whispering that this was no accident. He slipped the locket into an evidence bag and whispered to himself, "Some shadows never fade." The screen fades to black. A single heartbeat echoes. Then a voice steady, deliberate. Next on TrueShadows Reel, the truth behind that unknown face in the photograph and the secrets buried in the hearts of those who claimed to love Amber Cordell.